Hey, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44. You can also catch me at my Facebook page, True Divine 44, at Instagram and Twitter at The True Divine. So, like, share, subscribes, comments are greatly appreciated on all of those platforms. And much love to everybody who does it thus far. So I'm putting out as much free content as I can, mainly via tarot, to help support, guide and inspire those who want to be supported, guided and inspired. It's up to you, the listener, to discern whatever information I spiel out, that whatever I say, it's up to you to discern what really catches you here, what your heart resonates with, rather than bending any reading, any information to your will, to something that you might manifest in your life because of the power of this, if you start dwelling on it, but that really never had to be a part of your life in the first place. So just be careful of that, and discern through your heart rather than your mind when you're listening to any reader, not just me. So this is supposed to be a daily energy reading for the 28th of May 2020, and the energy is intense. The energy's been intense for me, playing around with it, feeling it out, discerning what it is. It's been up and down, back and forth, like moving very fast, but in extremes, of circumstances. So I want to extend this reading to maybe have something to refer back to over the whole of the weekend, although I'll dip in and do some daily energy updates via tarot throughout the weekend. I want this maybe to underpin the whole of the weekend. Now, I'm in no way educated enough to preach to anybody about the planetary alignments, but what I can do is, over just being a real planet freak, loving them as beings, loving them as light, as energy, as live things, just as I love this world as a live being, one big womb that holds space for us. I'm well versed enough to take that information in and understand it, and able to apply it to some of the energy work I'm doing, apply it to certain things in my life, being able to apply it to certain clients' lives and what they're hearing in their reading. But I'm not educated enough to even insult any of the brilliant people who describe what the planetary alignments are doing, and describe how that will be affecting the world that we're living in, the reality that we're living in, and even some of them describing, looking back to the similar times, similar alignments years ago, and what happened during that time. But what I can say to you is, please go and have a look at some of the different styles of people who can give you this information, because it really is a brilliant tool to add to your expanding status, in that you're learning, you're growing, you're wanting to know more, and the planets are an intrinsic part of what we feel here and what we're able to do here. And so we should be hooked into the power of them. We should be hooked into the interpretation of them. It's age old, that using the planets as directing lights, of heads up of where energy's going. And so as we see that as above, so below, I feel that, coupled with this reading that I pulled today, and coupled with some of the information that I've absorbed regarding planetary alignments, and it being a super rare time, in that it absolutely reflects what this time of reset and time of pause has been put on the collective consciousness, with this illusion that has been thrown into the playpen for all of us children to be distracted by. It shows that there are powers that be, and then there are powers that be, that we not know who they be. We haven't got a clue. but they're there and they have this knowledge. They've kept this knowledge. They've passed on this knowledge. I truly believe from generation to generation to have that lap above us, to have that extra bit of knowledge above us, to have the knowledge of how to hook into our consciousness and control us via it, with us praising them and thanking them for doing so. So I'm talking about those powers. I truly feel that they know of this alignment. They know of this time of reset, of balance, not just coming from the planets, but from within us also. What I feel in my knowing is that they are terrified of us knowing in our numbers, in enough numbers, our true powers and our true connectedness to everything and all creation. Because at that point then we really would hook into the knowledge of way above us to right in the depths of us, as above so below. At that point, that's when we are the real manifestation, without the limitations and labels and controls of what a human being can be, what our soul can feed into this experience, because what kind of path we can follow. With that information, that's when we're truly divine and sovereign. And at that point, we're very hard to control. At that point, we are truly in our independent status. We aren't controlled, we aren't manipulated quite so easily. And so what part of what I know that they know, because I know it, is that in my inner knowings, I know, and I've thought on this a lot, I've gotten a lot of inner standings regarding this, of that they know that every spell has to be complete. Every circuit board has to be complete. If there's one little cut in a circuit board, that energy doesn't get fully round that board. It might even in some circumstances, I don't know, but maybe jump, to get to the rest of the circuit board. Maybe there's some things that are strong enough to do that and jump to, but there's still that loss of power in between. There's still that disconnect. There's not that full power. And so that's where this distraction comes in, like every other distraction. But look how big this distraction's been. Look how illusionary and ridiculous this distraction has been. That alone tells me, without any kind of psychic power, that they are shitting themselves. They are clinging on for control. And they are trying to distract us with the biggest party trick ever, because they've got to try and distract us at all costs, even at the costs of an economy. So they're clinging on against something that is bigger than them, us. We are all individually and then collectively a circuit board that finishes off this loop of energy. And I really feel that where the planets are trying to align and trying to help us be freed from this controlling, stifling reality, the knowledge is that we are the ones that have to then finish that off. As above, so below. We have to allow that explosion of sovereignty and divinity crash into us from above. We need to feel that through. We need to transmute that. We need to break it down. We need to then allow that to explode out from us. At that point, that's when we start affecting each other. There's that circuit board of sovereignty, of divinity, of strength, of fortitude. And we need enough numbers to finish off the circuit board. to allow that kind of energy, instead of fear and control and propaganda, to allow that kind of energy to reverberate around the collective consciousness. Because it is at that point, without any war, without any protests, we win. Because if we are truly making decisions regarding ourselves with as much knowledge as possible, being as whole as possible, this kind of control we've been living under just does not work anymore. It's not going to work. It just doesn't match up. It's a different frequency. It's a different everything. And so the first card, this Tower card, it speaks of the fact that light workers, the people who have been holding space and time, the genuine people who just want to help the collective consciousness, and through that experience these wild and wacky experiences along the way, have had, and I myself have had, this many tower moments where we have been stripped bare of everything that we thought we'd built up. But we only ever lose in the tower moment, we only ever lose the things of the 3D, the illusionary things, the things that the labels that people have put upon us and that we've happily accepted, sometimes not happily, but even worse, still accepted. The conditioning, the controlling, the molding, what role are you, what pigeonhole do you sit in? And we build up these bricks of this tower in my mind. And it's illusion, it's distraction, it's all of the busy to-do lists that to fulfill every single role that you think you are because of outside conditioning. And as this light worker, somebody holding space, I don't like to label like that, but somebody holding space to try and uplift people and therefore uplift the collective. They've had many tower moments and are much better versed to either have a tower moment in their life, because if you use the tower in its in the energy that it's meant for, is that it just strips you bare of everything that was actually weighing you down. That even if it looked good and felt good as a garment of luxurious clothing, if it didn't really represent you, then some way, shape or form, even that would be holding you down, holding you, limiting you from the real power of you. And so to use that, learn to use the tower energy as a cleansing, as a wipeout, a reset, is the best way forward often. Now the tower doesn't take any of you, the core of you. All it takes is this illusion, these things that limit and hold you in this space. It takes away the distractions of them. So the person who is well versed in the tower card often goes on to do great work because they're well versed in not getting too attached to 3D things, 3D roles, to being very attached to having the experience of life and going and flowing where the universe takes them, where their heart and passions take them. So the tower moment becomes a cleansing of all cleansings. It becomes another energy in the toolkit to take away things that we've maybe let sneak in over time. And so this well-versed person in the tower card might well be feeling a few things crashing down that just weren't right, they weren't lined up right, they weren't made up of the right stuff, the agreements, the business agreements, things like that. But they're not having a nervous breakdown. They are looking at it, transmuting it, taking the lessons from it, figuring out why that happened again? Is it a repetitive pattern? What am I doing that is repetitive? What am I clinging on to? What is a continuous thread that I've clung on to continue to allow these tower cards, these tower moments to have to come in? And then there's the people around those people who are well versed in the tower card energy, who haven't had as many tower moments or as extreme a tower moment as often the case, because these are the people that are absorbed in the 3D. They're absorbed in the distractions, they're absorbed in the drama, they're absorbed in the roles and how they should look, how people should look at them, how they should be respected, what this does, what everything in its pigeonhole. And they've been quite happy there, because really, you know, they are having less extreme or less altogether tower moments, because the whole thing's an illusion. And illusions and distractions are like free food. It's, you know, they throw them out there for fun so that we stay distracted. So then there's people like that who gather these back up and build up another tower just as fast. It's these people that now have to deal with, alongside the people holding space and time with light, they have to deal with these towers above them, the constructs that they've believed in, that they've fought for, that they've been divided against their fellow man for, the politicians, the colours, the football teams, the hockey teams, all of those things that they've been so absorbed in. All of a sudden the truth's coming out, because remember, above that, and then above that is the planets. This crashing down is happening in from above to the below. And you're going to see over the weekend that there is going to be huge devastating truths that emerge, that are found, that come out regarding these systems and constructs that we've been living under and being controlled by, what their real purpose was, why they've done what they've done, dark stuff. And so these people who have done nothing but live in their pigeonholes, in their illusions, all of a sudden look out and up to these constructs and these systems to be their saving grace, to come and save them, to provide for them, because they're very surely they're going to provide for us. They're the very people that stopped us providing for ourselves, stopped us having communal gardens, stopped us doing buying seeds and things like that. So surely they have a responsibility. They'll give you all the promises under the world to try and keep a hold of power, but it's going to be very obvious over this weekend that they've got something way bigger above them, that is unstoppable, that is coming in to crash down on their illusion. So this weekend feels like the tower of all towers, and it's like a domino effect in my mind. They come crashing down, the first few dominoes, and pop, 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 pop. And so the only people who are going to be left grounded are the people who actually have maybe gotten a bit tired of the tower moments in their lives that they've become quite so well versed to, but you've been training. You can handle this. You've seen the truth of these constructs and these systems for a long time. What is going to be very difficult to deal with is the people around you that have been quite happy to live in their 3D illusion, quite happy to be locked up in their ivory towers, you know, because that's where they feel safe, in this illusion. Frightened of their own power, frightened of their own divinity, frightened of their own sovereignty. These people are going to feel like headless chickens when they look out to the governments, to the politicians that have sworn to help them, to protect them, to swoop in and be the parent of them, and be the parent of their children even. They're not going to be there. So at that point, these people are going to get very unhinged. These people are going to get very volatile. all they've known to do to win is to be divided. All they've known to do to win is to argue black's white for their politician and their side, to stay distracted. That's what has been their makeup. So where do they then put that energy alongside panic and fear? It's at this point that you get the protests. It's at this point that you get the, you know, even the people within those said constructs, they're feeling the pressure of things crashing down around them. And it may be that we start seeing the people within that. We have seen that in the last few days with that poor man who was murdered by a police officer, and another police officer. I don't know how many exactly there were, but in the video that I saw, another one absolutely allowing it to happen. And so there's people are getting unhinged. People are getting even more fearful than before, and so they should. It's a big change. It's a big reset. So when people say, well, what can I do? What can I do to change this collective stage? No one person can do everything, and no one person can give you one answer to change the collective stage, to change how things are. Only it takes everybody to do their bit. And basically, the very thing that we've been distracted from the most simple answer is always overlooked or seen as airy-fairy, or seen as, you know, oh, too modern, or oh, too fluffy, you know. But basically, it's work on your own inner grounds. This tower is asking you to remove yourself from everything that makes you feel detached, everything that makes you feel like you're playing pretend, everything that doesn't fire you up and doesn't really spur you on, and really make a decision this weekend to hook into the energies that these planets are giving us, if we choose to take it. To be brave, to break away from roles that don't define us, from positions that don't fuel us up and reflect who we truly are. Moving away from people who don't match up to don't resonate with us on this level and at this level. You know, to really choose you. Because again, I'll say it again, it's at that point that we win, without any protests, without any wars. The more of us that choose our divine paths, our soul's journey, the more that reverberates around and bounces back and forth and builds up even more. The more the things like Hollywood and I need to say something about this also, as with the tower, and I know I'm going on, but this is important. Keep pausing it, coming back to it, whatever you want to digest any of the information. They put so much money into Hollywood. We literally have learned from childhood how to react in certain situations. So to an extent, we're too lapsy-daisy, because with Disney, you know, everything just fixes itself with a song eventually, if we just keep singing. And then you look at the love stories that we're sold, you know, of what is truly love, what is acceptable, what is... So we go through these love stories, and even the reactions to breakups, we watch them through the movie screen. And so you see people breaking up, and you see people going off, you know, cutting their hair in a crazy way that they never would have before, to make this big statement. And that's exactly what you see people doing. People play out the movies, because that's what's being fed to us. That's part of our education. And so even in the movies, we see pandemics, and the people who don't do as they're told, oh, they die, they burn, you know, they catch this awful thing that puts boils all over their bodies. So even that, we've been trained to be in our pigeonholes and allow the controllers to control. And so it's for you to not play out any movie script that you've played out before over and over again, that really hasn't resonated with you, that really hasn't worked, but to break away from it and to be brave enough to be naked from all of the labels, all of the judgments, all of the control, all of the self-deprivation, to be truly laid bare, the core of you. It's at that point the right people will be attracted to you. It's at that point that you will give out this energy of divinity and sovereignty and really change around the way, what reality we bring in. Now I've gone on, and the second card is the World card. So I'm going to be quicker with this now, because basically everything that I've said, and I can't remember half of what I've said because it's just been flowing, so I hope it makes sense to whoever it's supposed to make sense to. But it's supposed to make sense to us all, quite frankly, and that's not being big-headed. That's what's happening way above us, being brought down to here for us to deal with. So we can either take the information on board and run with it and make good of it, or we can, you know, stay in the 3D ivory tower of illusion and you know, just hope and pray that these governments that have never looked after us really before, out of the goodness of their hearts, all of a sudden do. So we choose the reality we want to live in, because the Tower card and then the World card. We are literally by our own lives, the choices that we make for us. Are we just putting up with mediocre? Are we just staying somewhere because it is convenient or because it seems in the 3D easier? Are we putting up with a boss who does nothing but suck us dry because of the wage that they manage to pay us to keep all of these things that don't even really reflect us anyway at the core of it? It's for the brave souls that allow themselves to be truly naked, that allow themselves to truly make their decisions from here and only here. Not the too much mind, all heart, not too much mind. Too much mind will put you back into this 3D surface layer. And so it's for those people that the reality will start to build up around them of truth, of real resonance, of something that feeds, of wondering that, is this really how we could have been living? Is this really how touch really feels when you really feel? And so, but it is for a time going to be difficult, in that there's a real separation here. For the people who are willing to embody the energy of the Tower and let that shit crumble where it falls, and let the universe support you on your path to finding your way to the right places, the right people that feed you. Or these people are going to be watching, often a lot of loved ones even, experiencing their Tower moment and feeling it really for the first time, because the very tower that they reflect their Tower from is crumbling above them. And so, like I said before, this is going to cause a lot of upset, a lot of panic. The one thing I can say is, yes, we're here to hold space and time and hold light in the darkness for others to be able to join, to gain knowledge about themselves. It's not our job to make decisions for anybody. It's not our job to manipulate. It's not our job to put pressure on. It's not our job to hold over or direct somebody else's decision making. And as difficult as it can be to watch loved ones going through a tower, but to top it off, a very confused tower, a tower without knowledge, it is very difficult. And it's a time where you're going to have to be balanced and measured, and remind yourself that you can't fix this for them. You can help aid, you can help guide, you can be there holding space and time, but you can't actually fix this for them, because it's their individual tower. It's built up of all of their individual insecurities, and it's built up of all of their individual conditions and labels, and how that's actually hooked into them. So it's time to get ready to choose your soul's path. Choose what really you are here to do, to remind yourself that this is life, this is living. So even if you've been knocked down by this tower, get up, move, flow. You know, this is an experience, so make the most of it, and damn sure direct it. Damn sure direct where this reality goes and how it looks for you. And you have to let go of everything outside of self, looking at these illusions, looking at other people's reactions to you. None of it matters now. It's all about these huge decisions to follow your soul's path. And so the third card being, I know I've gone on and on, but this is important. It is, I'm not even going to apologize, it's important. The right people will listen to it and hear it and use it. So the third card being this Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands speaks of the need of courage, of the need to be that brave warrior, and it speaks of new goals. It speaks of this Tower card coming in and making us remember, making us realize what we came here to do, making us remember what really makes us feel alive, what really fires us up and gets us going, what we're really passionate about, and bringing that in. And it's going to take courage to go for it. It's going to take courage to rise above all of these distractions, all of these crumbling towers, and all of the various debris of people's emotional body parts flying here, there and everywhere, you know, just flicking it off your windscreen with the windscreen wipers. Just pictured that. So visuals. So it speaks of being able to go forward against all of those odds. This is our test. This is one of the big tests that we're going to have in this experience in our lifetimes. How do you want to fare in that test? Do you want to, you know, come out on the outside, on the other side, having lost most of what you're clinging on to anyway, because it wasn't right, so it's fallen away? This is a tower moment, but it's not only a tower moment in individuals' lives. This is a tower moment, just like this illusionary thing that shall not be named as being. This is a collective, focused tower moment. The only difference is how well we fare from it, how well we direct our reality from it. They are the differences. They are the sort in the way from the rye, I think it is. I don't know the saying, but you know, when substances sort of level off over water, you know, something rises up and something will sink down. I wish I could remember quotes properly. So speaking of that, on the bottom of the deck is the Eight of Cups underpinning this. It couldn't be more apt if it tried, in that it speaks of letting go of what doesn't emotionally hold you up and sustain you anymore. Letting go of things that have been long standing in your life, but that just don't make you feel aligned. They don't make you feel like you belong anymore, whether that's a role in a job, whether that's a role in a family, whether that's a partner, whether that's a friendship group, whatever that is for you. It speaks of movement. It speaks of moving towards the people and things that feed you, and moving towards the things of nature. We're really coming into a time where a lot of us could bring in collectively, with this divinity work and this sovereignty work through this tower moment, a world that is much more connected, that we feel it when we touch something, it feels like we're feeling for the first time. Or maybe when we hear a bit of music that we've heard before, it feels like it's in our ears for the first time, because it's intense. It's heightened awareness to the connectedness of everything. It's heightened awareness to the energy that allows that that voice or that music to come into your ear from a speaker. It's basically feeling like we've had mushrooms, that heightened experience, that the colours being brighter. And so there's a real, it might feel very, very difficult to let go for a lot of us of things that have been long standing with this Eight of Cups. But this, when we look at the core of us, when the Tower cards come down in our lives, and it probably has already for a lot of us, and over the weekend it's going to get more intense in numbers in the amount of towers coming down. It speaks of being brave enough to align yourself, because this is dissatisfaction, this is disappointment, this is lethargy, emotional lethargy. So it does speak to going your own way, letting go of that doesn't feed you and doesn't nourish you emotionally anymore, doesn't reflect you emotionally fully anymore, or even at all. So that's the reading for the 28th. But as I say, I would like people, if people wanted to carry it over the weekend. It is a long reading, I do apologise, but to carry it over the weekend, to refer back to it if necessary, because this is happening on a big scale. This is happening just like this illusionary plaything that's been thrown into the collective consciousness that is this virus. It is this is happening, and this is to break away. This is our opportunity to do the prison break, you know, to break away from this illusionary construct and really start to feel, hear and touch and have real true love, real true passions, real true drive for life, and experiences. And what an amazing time. Although it's very difficult sometimes, don't let that be a long time. Sometimes it's very difficult when we're trying